Quarterbin. We are here at the New York Comic Con for the Wonder Woman premiere, and we are speaking with Timm, who is on this an executive producer? Producer, okay. Producer on the Wonder Woman animated feature. So, you know, no surprise that you've worked with just about every character already in the universe, but you know, now Wonder Woman gets her first full-on feature film, and it's animated, so it falls right into your wheelhouse. You know,
yeah.
You get to work with all these guys. So what's it like being the guy who helps put Wonder Woman finally on, you know, feature film status?
Well, it's cool. It's tricky because the nature of these direct-to-video projects that we've been doing, starting with Doomsday and through New Frontier and Gotham Knight and now Wonder Woman. Even though I'm creatively involved in them in a producer capacity, at the same time, I don't quite have the same level of creative input that I had on the TV show stuff. And I sometimes feel like I'm in the business of making myself obsolete because you know, on this film I'd worked with Lauren Montgomery before on Justice League and on Superman Doomsday, and on this film I felt that it was really time for her to, like, you know, kind of take much more control of a film. I felt like she definitely had the talent and the drive to do it. So I pretty much kind of like let her run with it. At the same time, you know, I go to the recordings and go to the, you know, sit in the editing room with her and do the post-production and whatever. But at the same time, I pretty much left most of the creative decisions up to her, especially in terms of the art direction. So, like I said, pretty soon I'm going to be out of a job because she's doing everything so well. She doesn't really need me at all. But it's been exciting to see her, like, you know, really step up to the plate and, you know, start hitting home runs.
So taking a step back on these projects like this, like finally, you know, having someone else to take the reins, really, you know, what do you find yourself, you know, do you find yourself looking at other aspects of it differently now? Like, now I get to enjoy this part now that I'm not worried about, you know, this particular aspect, like all aspects. Now I can sit back a little bit.
To be completely selfish, yeah, it's great having somebody else do all the heavy lifting and I mean, like I said, I do look at all the models and all the color and stuff. But she gets the first pass at it, you know. So I don't have to, like, be there at every step of the game. Like I said, ultimately, you know, if there's something that she likes that I don't particularly like, I usually let her go with it, you know, because it's just kind of like, okay, it's your movie, you know, do what you're gonna do, and for the most part, it's turned out great. So I can't really think of anything that, you know, we didn't really disagree very much, anyways. But yeah, so it's nice to have somebody doing all the heavy lifting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Short answer. Yeah.
Short answer. Yes. Okay. So.
Well, fortunately, I really like the editing process. I've said before, and it's really kind of true. There's something about being in the editing booth with the film, and to me it's just fun to, like, play with the film and to see it in real time, and you can say, oh yeah, what if we slowed it down a little bit here, or if we cut the scene and put it there instead of that, and that just, to me, is that's just playtime. I just totally enjoy doing that. So that's an aspect of the show I was very, very involved in, and but yeah, all the other day-to-day stuff, I was totally fine with letting Lauren handle it because she's great.
Great. You know, along those lines of now that you've worked on the Superman, you worked on the Batman, you worked on the New Frontier, you know, where do you hope that DC continues to go with their animated features? You know.
Well, to me, one of the most exciting things about this whole project is that there's a lot of untapped potential in the DC universe outside of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And, you know, we got to explore a lot of that in the Justice League show, especially. And I understand that, you know, these things, even though they're lower budgeted than, you know, say, you know, theatrical feature films, there still is a certain amount of cash outlay, and it's a little bit of a gamble every time. And you know the home video people, they're absolutely in the right to, you know, want somewhat of a sure thing, you know, a guarantee in their return, but or a return on their investment. But, you know, it's a little tough sometimes to convince them to go outside of like the big three or even the more well-known properties. I mean, I know realistically that, you know, doing, you know, a Jonah Hex live act, you know, a cartoon film that's like a long shot. You know, it's not even a superhero; it's a western, and he's not a very well-known character. But boy, I would love to do something like that. You know, I'd love to go outside the superhero genre. There's so many other things that DC has done that I think would lend themselves to feature films. And you know, we may get there someday. You know, if these things continue to sell well, there's going to come a time. There's going to come a time when people are going to say, you know what? Don't give us any more Batman. We've got a lot of Batman. We want something else. You know. So we'll hopefully get there someday.
Yeah, you know, speaking on that, like projects other than that, do you think that you know, a chance of like a Vertigo or any of those types of properties coming to an animated feature? You know, is there anything big enough over there that you think could potentially sell it?
That's very possible. That's very possible. There are actually several Vertigo properties that we're looking at right now. There seems to be some interest from the home video people into exploring that possibility. They know going in that this would be even more adult themed than the stuff we've been doing with Superman, Wonder Woman, and New Frontier. We said, hey, you know, this would be R-rated. This would actually be a whole new market. And so far, they've said, oh, that sounds good to us. So that could happen.
Excellent.
That's a very real possibility.
Excellent. Okay, so you know, now that we've discussed pretty much all the animated features and stuff that's going on, is there any chance that sometime down the line you'll be switching over and maybe producing some live action stuff, or do you just want to stick with the animated and feel more in control on that?
I do feel more in control with animation, and I mean, I would actually like to do a live action sim someday, but as I've said before, with animation, we fall a little bit more below the radar, and I don't have to deal with quite so many executive notes where, you know, you do a theatrical film. You know, every department's got notes for you, and you know, you got to please everybody. It's got to be this, it's got to be that, it's got to be that. I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. So, but, you know, you never know.
Great.
One of these days.
Cool. All right. There you have it, folks. Bruce Timm, and looking forward to Wonder Woman.
Cool. Me
Thanks
too.
a lot.
Thanks.